Hey there, Virgo. I am doing a reading for you. These are timeless readings for really whoever finds it, but I am titling it a Virgo reading, thinking of it from that perspective. So thanks for joining me. Let's see what's going on.
Let's see what energy is bringing toward you. Something fundamental shifted when you stopped running after someone who wasn't running toward you. And they're feeling it in ways that are disrupting their entire sense of control. You were the constant, the reliable one, the person who always reached out first, who always tried harder, who always cared more visibly, who made the relationship possible through your one-sided effort. And they got comfortable with that dynamic, comfortable with being pursued while never having to pursue, comfortable with receiving your attention without having to reciprocate it. And then you stopped. Not dramatically, not with announcement, you just stopped. Stopped initiating, stopped trying, stopped making yourself available for someone who was taking your availability for granted. You took your energy back, redirected your attention, chose yourself. And that choice, that quiet withdrawal of the effort that was holding everything together, it's created a void they weren't prepared for. In the specific moment they're living in right now, they're experiencing the consequences of their own behavior, the absence of someone who was always present, the silence from someone who always spoke first, the distance from someone who always closed gaps. And it's not sitting well. It's creating discomfort they didn't expect, panic they can't control, recognition they're trying desperately to avoid. Let me reveal what's currently alive in their consciousness. In the brutal education of taken for granted presence becoming actual absence, people often don't value what they have until they lose access to it. When someone is always there, always available, always trying, it becomes background, expected, unremarkable. They stop seeing it as gift and start seeing it as given. It's possible the person you stopped chasing was operating from exactly that entitled mindset. They assumed you'd always be there, always reach out, always make effort. They didn't think about what it cost you to always be the one trying. They didn't consider that your patience had limits. They didn't imagine you'd ever actually stop. Some people treat others like options while expecting to be treated like priorities. They want the freedom to be casual while you're invested. They want your consistency without having to offer their own. They want access without responsibility. And they maintain this imbalanced dynamic as long as the other person accepts it. You might have been accepting exactly that dynamic for longer than you should have, making excuses for their lack of effort, telling yourself they were just busy or scared or not good at communication, convincing yourself that your trying was enough for both of you until something shifted, until you hit your limit, until trying became unbearable and stopping became necessary. And now they're experiencing what happens when the person who was always available becomes unavailable. When the constant becomes absent, when the given is taken away, this reflection invites you to consider, how long were you the only one making effort before you stopped? Let me illuminate what took your power back actually means in this situation. Power in relationships isn't about control or dominance. It's about choice, about agency, about not giving someone else authority over your peace and self-worth. When you're chasing someone who isn't reciprocating, you've given away your power. You've made them the decider, the one who determines if you're happy or sad based on their responsiveness. In the reclamation of personal power through withdrawal, You stopped giving someone else control over your emotional state. You stopped organizing your life around their availability. You stopped measuring your worth by their interest. You took yourself back. It's possible you're experiencing exactly that kind of liberation right now. The freedom that comes from no longer waiting for someone's text. The peace that comes from no longer wondering if they're thinking about you. The power that comes from investing in your own life instead of someone else's attention. Some people experience this as relief. The burden of one-sided effort was exhausting. Letting it go creates space, energy, clarity. They feel lighter, freer, more themselves than they felt in months. Others experience it as grief mixed with relief. They miss the person, but they don't miss the dynamic. They're sad about the loss, but grateful for the freedom. They carry both feelings without one canceling the other. You might be living in exactly that complicated space, where stopping was necessary but not easy, where taking your power back was right but still painful, where you know you made the correct choice but you still feel the weight of it. This reflection invites you to consider, how does it feel to no longer be chasing someone? Let me speak to what freaking out specifically looks like in their current experience. Freaking out shows up as obsessive checking. They're looking at your social media more than they did when you were available. They're noticing your silence in ways they never noticed your presence. They're asking mutual friends about you. They're tracking your activity, trying to understand what your withdrawal means, and the specific anxiety of losing access to someone who was always accessible. People often become hyper aware of exactly what they were ignoring before. Your posts matter now. Your status matters now. Whether you're online matters now. Everything they took for granted becomes significant in its absence. It's possible this person is currently stalking your digital presence, checking if you've moved on, looking for signs of what you're doing and who you're doing it with, trying to decode your quietness. They can't ask you directly because that would reveal they care, but they're definitely watching. Some people reach out tentatively when they start freaking out. Casual messages that seem innocent but are actually tests. Hey, how have you been? They're not really asking how you are. They're checking if you'll respond. If you're still available, if the door is still open. Others act out through indirect methods, liking old posts, watching all your stories, creating situations where you might notice them noticing you, trying to get your attention without directly asking for it. You might be witnessing exactly these behaviors. Someone who was casual is suddenly very aware of you. Someone who took you for granted is suddenly trying to figure out if they lost you. Someone who never chased is suddenly showing signs of pursuit. This reflection invites you to consider, have you noticed increased attention from someone since you stopped giving them attention? Let me reveal what's actually creating their panic beyond just missing you. It's not just that you're not chasing anymore. It's what you're not chasing represents. It means you're strong enough to walk away. It means they don't have the power over you they thought they had. It means they might actually lose you. It means someone else might value what they took for granted. In the specific threat to ego and access, people often freak out not because they necessarily want the person back, but because they don't want to lose the option. They liked having you available even if they weren't taking full advantage of that availability. Your withdrawal threatens their sense of having choices. It's possible this person is freaking out partially because their ego is bruised. They were the pursued one, the desired one, the one with power to accept or reject your efforts. Your stopping flips that script. Suddenly, they're the ones who might get rejected. Suddenly they have to wonder if you even want them anymore. Suddenly they're not in control. Some egos can't handle that flip, can't handle the possibility that someone they took for granted might not want them back, can't handle the idea that they might have pushed too far, that they might have tested someone's patience past its breaking point. You might be triggering exactly that kind of ego crisis, not because you're trying to, but because your absence is forcing them to confront that they don't actually have guaranteed access to you, that you're a person with agency who can choose to be done, that taking you for granted had consequences they're only now recognizing. This reflection invites you to consider, does their panic feel like genuine recognition of your value or bruised ego at loss of control? Let me address what you need to understand about your position right now. You have power you didn't have when you were chasing. When you were the one pursuing, they held all the cards. They decided if and when to respond. They controlled the pace and terms. But now you're the one deciding. You're the one with power to engage or stay distant. You're the one they're waiting on. It's possible you're feeling that shift in power dynamics. Someone who used to make you wait is now waiting on you. Someone who used to be casual about responding is now desperate for your response. Someone who took your effort for granted would now probably appreciate that effort. Some people use this power shift to play games. They make the other person chase the way they were chased. They create the same anxiety and uncertainty they experienced. They essentially become what they didn't like. And that's tempting, that's understandable, but it's also limiting. You might need to resist that temptation to not become the same kind of person who hurt you, to use your power wisely, to require different treatment without becoming the same kind of treater, to stay in your integrity even when you have opportunity for revenge. And you need to stay clear about what you actually want. Do you want this person to pursue you so you can reject them? Do you genuinely want them to show up differently so you can try again? Or have you actually moved on and their panic is just noise you're observing from distance? This reflection invites you to consider, what do you actually want from this situation now? Let me close by speaking to what comes next. Someone freaking out doesn't mean they've changed, doesn't mean they're ready to show up differently, doesn't mean they've developed the capacity they were lacking. It just means they're uncomfortable with your absence. And discomfort isn't the same as transformation. May you hold your power steadily. May you trust your boundaries. May you choose yourself first. You stopped chasing, they're feeling it. The power shifted. You stopped chasing this person. You withdrew the effort that was holding everything together. Took your power back. You stopped giving them control over your peace. And now they're freaking out. They're feeling your absence in ways your presence never made them feel. They're panicking at the possibility of actually losing access to you. And that panic, it's information. It tells you they noticed. They care more than they showed. They're affected by your withdrawal. But it doesn't tell you they've changed. It doesn't tell you they're ready to reciprocate. It just tells you they don't like losing what they took for granted. Trust this. Trust that you deserve someone who doesn't need to lose you to value you. Trust that someone freaking out at your absence isn't the same as someone being ready to show up in your presence. Trust that you can observe their panic without making it your responsibility to ease. Stay in your power. Stay in your peace. Stay in your choice. Their freak out is theirs to manage. Your freedom is yours to protect.